Oh, we're talking a lot of things today. Back with Sweeney here. This is going to be a lot of fun. I got a hot take, all right? I want to run it by you.
Okay.
I don't think the talk about batting order really matters that much. I don't think how you construct the lineup has that strong of an impact on your eventual run scoring in a game. And the reason I'm saying this is because my guy over at MLB Statcast, who does a ton of their work, Tom Tango Tiger on X, had this tweet. Now, I'm not showing the results here, but what he does is he basically says, okay, if you take the most perfect batting order for a given team, and then you take the complete opposite of that, and you compare those two, what is the gap in the amount of runs you would expect to score in a given game? He calcs it out, and he has this on his website. He goes into all of it. It's about 0.25 runs per game. So sum that up over the course of 162 games, you're looking at about 40 or so runs in total. If you say, 6 to 7 runs equates to a win, you're talking anywhere between maybe 4 and 5 wins in an entire season. And we're talking about the best lineup you could possibly have versus the worst lineup you could possibly have. So when we talk about individual flips from a guy, say, going from number 1 to number 5 or 4 to 3, those differences are really small. I think it's really hard when you're looking forward from a projection standpoint to go, okay, just because this guy was hitting in this spot versus this spot, we lost this game. So, Sweeney, do you like this? Or am I on the right track, or do you think there's more to it?
No, I think you're right. I only think that you want to hit your best players at the top of the order only because you want them to get more at bats, right? And I think from a player's standpoint, look, we were talking a bit about this. Other than the leadoff spot and the 4-hole, everybody else just kind of hits where they hit. It's like, even coaching young kids, it's like who's hitting in the leadoff spot and then who's hitting. It's just that mentality of the 4-hole hitter, even though it shouldn't be like that. It's called the 4-hole, right? And then you have the guys at the bottom of the order that, probably are only going to get 3 at-bats, so then maybe they put a little more pressure on themselves to, get hits because they're only going to get 3 at-bats, but I don't know, I never hit in the 9-hole, so I'm mostly...
He's too good. He's too good.
I mostly only hit 3 or 5, so it was like one of those things where, like, I know I'm going to come up, I'd like to see guys hit before me, so I did hit leadoff for a while, so it's interesting Busch now hitting leadoff. It's a different mentality for sure. Even though you say, oh, you only lead off at the beginning of the game, it feels like you're hitting all the time.
You're transitioning for me perfectly here. Let's look at Busch specifically in leadoff situations versus non-leadoff situations. I'm going to qualify this by only looking at his performance against right-handed pitching, which makes a lot of sense. The things that jump out to me, all right, the zone miss has jumped a lot. This is how much he's missing balls in the zone, generally ones that he makes a lot of contact with. He was a little bit below average in terms of that miss when he was not hitting leadoff. You put him in the leadoff spot, it jumps up to 37%, which is well above the average. Curveballs and changeups in the middle there, he's also seeing more of those, and his OBP has dropped. So again, small sample here. He's been the primary leadoff hitter against righties over the past month or so. You probably can't say going forward he's going to be this kind of hitter. I think you'd skew him more towards the non-leadoff, but this gets into the aggregate versus the specific, right? From that high-level point, I'm saying I don't think this matters, but perhaps there's a mentality change here, Sweeney.
No, I just think he's not your prototypical leadoff hitter from what I see, and I don't think that anybody else sees that either, where he's up there ready to hit, and he's been ambushing. And I think you see when you take a look at what he's been able to do is when he gets that fastball in first pitch and he's ready to hit and he doesn't miss it, we've seen him distribute it for a home run. And you take a look here, he's had a couple center cut. What's the pitcher trying to do? First pitch fastball, throwing right down the middle. And Busch is one of those guys where if he's looking in his spot, he's gonna swing. You see here in Milwaukee too, 92, 94, right down the middle. But then what happens is if he does miss those pitches, you talked about it, he's getting a heavy dose of off-speed pitches. You see those change-ups down and away, it's nasty. That's where that swing and miss comes. So if he doesn't swing at that first pitch, now he's getting a lot of breaking balls, and that's where that swing and miss outside of the zone comes for, where he's probably not used to when he was hitting more in the 6-hole.
Yeah, totally makes a lot of sense. I mean, I imagine there's some minor things here in terms of how he's being pitched that maybe are influencing that, or it's just a mindset shift. It's fascinating to consider those angles, but I want to go a little bit further down the batting order and talk about Pete Armstrong and Kyle Tucker, because how they create production is completely different. To the point where if you're Zach Littell facing the Cubs tonight, you're looking at this order 3 and 4 tonight and going, Pete is a guy who chases a ton. You see the strikeout rate and the walk rate down at 3% is insane. But his WRC plus, so how much total value he's creating from an offensive standpoint, 40%, 41%, you'd read that, above the major league average hitter. You go over to Tucker, the complete opposite. He's only striking out 12% of the time. He's walking 23% of the time, which is like almost triple that of the league average. And again, the WRC plus at the top is pretty good. Both really strong hitters, but doing it in such a different way in terms of how they get to that value. It's got to be frustrating for pitchers.
And I'm going to throw something at you too. Littell, we talked tonight, I don't know if you knew this, but he has a less than a 4% walk rate. So he throws a lot of strikes. So that's good for PCA. But I think when you take a look at the difference between these two is PCA, look, he's a young hitter, right? And I think when he's struggling a little bit, he tries to swing his way out of it, right? He's trying to, instead of taking pitches and trying to get his timing down, he's like, all right, I'm going to hit myself out of this. Whereas Tucker, he's been around a while. He's won a World Series. He knows how guys are trying to pitch him. He has that, like, keeps his bat in the zone for a long time. So he knows he can't get beat on certain things. So he takes his situations where he takes more walks. So he's more of a, laid back hitter. But in certain situations, and we've talked about it as of late, when Tucker isn't putting up the production that he's used to as he did in the first half of the season, you see him maybe with 2 outs the other night. He got the walk, right? But it's in certain situations like that when he's down 3-2 that you want him to drive the ball in, where you know that Pete's going to be swinging in that situation.
Yeah, it's interesting to see in the middle of the order how different these two hitters are. I imagine it's one of the larger differences in terms of walk rate, strikeout rate in baseball. Cole, back to you, man. This guy has never hit 9 in his life. He's too good.
I have not.